Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we are looking at a moment that absolutely just captivated the world. We're going to unpack the true anatomy of persistence. We'll break down exactly what fueled that raw, intense emotion of Cristiano Ronaldo breaking down in tears after finally lifting a league trophy. But look, what we're really dissecting today, it's not just a sports highlight. It is a profound, totally universal story about what it actually takes to overcome failure and how a relentless, undying passion can silence even the loudest of critics.
Four long years. I mean, in the life of an elite, fiercely competitive athlete, 4 years without a league trophy? That is an absolute eternity. It's a massive, agonizing drought. For 1,460 days he was waiting, struggling, and just fighting to feel that specific weight of a league championship in his hands again. Because guys, this wasn't just some brief slump. This was a grueling marathon of endurance. Every single day of those 4 years added this microscopic layer of pressure, a new whisper of doubt from the outside world, and an even heavier burden of expectation on his own shoulders.
And that incredibly heavy 4-year burden, that leads us exactly to this moment right here, the tears of a champion. The visceral, emotional climax of this entire story happened the exact second that trophy finally touched his hands again. The dam just broke. The tears came flooding out. You see, this wasn't some composed, media-trained smile for the cameras. No way. This was raw, unfiltered human relief and just overwhelming emotion. The tears broke through because he had carried the weight of the world and the weight of his own monumental expectations for so incredibly long. It's literally the definition of what it looks like when relentless pressure finally meets ultimate vindication.
All right, moving into Section 1, Facing the Loudest Critics.
To truly understand those tears, we really have to understand the sheer volume of the noise he was blocking out. The whole narrative of his triumph simply doesn't exist without the massive adversity and relentless mockery he faced. I mean, this was a heavy, suffocating wall of negativity. First off, people laughed at him. They openly mocked a living legend who was experiencing a drought. Then came those definitive, just cruel statements like, "He is finished." When he made his move, they tried to completely invalidate his arena, saying things like, "What does the Saudi League even matter?" And finally, there was that constant draining comparison to his own past self. He's not the old Ronaldo. Imagine waking up to that chorus of voices every single day for years. You know, most people would eventually just agree with the critics, pack it in, and walk away. But this story is exactly about why he didn't.
Let's look at Section 2, A Warrior's Undying Passion. So we've seen the external noise, but now we really need to shift our focus completely inward to examine the internal fire. What kept him going when the whole world counted him out? Well, for the casual observer, or honestly even a typical player, it's just a game, right? But for Ronaldo, every single match is a war. Every defeat, physically and mentally, breaks him. Every trophy is deeply, intensely personal. When you operate with this extreme level of obsession, a loss isn't just a bad day at the office. It's a devastating blow. And this reality explains exactly why his emotional reaction with that trophy was so intense and so incredibly earned. He literally invests his entire soul into the outcome.
41. Just let that sink in for a second. Think about the sheer willpower, the grueling physical maintenance, and the immense psychological resilience it takes for a man at 41 years old to step onto the pitch in professional sports and still give absolutely 100%. To put that into perspective for you, the average retirement age for a professional footballer is around 35. So the critics said he wasn't the old Ronaldo, but the reality is he's out there displaying a level of effort and commitment that completely defies the normal limits of time and age.
And that actually brings us to a beautiful truth. He is still out there celebrating like it's his very first game. Despite all the years, despite the immense wealth, and despite having already achieved quite literally everything there is to achieve in the sport, his pure, foundational love for football remains entirely intact. He celebrates every single goal with the raw, unfiltered, exploding passion of a rookie who just got called up to the big leagues. That right there is the secret engine of his persistence. The passion has never, ever died.
Which brings us to Section 3, the ultimate life lesson.
We've spent all this time looking at a sports icon on a football pitch, but honestly, this translates into a masterclass on resilience for our everyday lives. Ronaldo has practically become a noun, not just a football anymore, but a profound feeling and an enduring inspiration. Because of this agonizing 4-year journey, the mockery, and the ultimate triumph, his story elevates him way past just being an athlete. He's become a living symbol of determination for millions of people who watch him battle through his own valleys to reach the peak once again.
And this is the absolute culminating message of his journey.
No matter how many failures come in life, never stop fighting. That is the true translation of his tears. That is the ultimate answer to the 4 years of critics laughing. It's not about avoiding failure, right? The drought itself proves that even the absolute greatest experience agonizing setbacks. It is entirely about your response to it. You must absolutely refuse to stop fighting.
And because he refused to quit, the gratitude from his supporters is just immense. These are the messages echoing back to him now. Thank you. We are praying for you. We are rooting for you. We are proud of you. This massive outpouring of support perfectly validates his struggle. It confirms that his undying passion successfully drowned out every single one of those critics. The undeniable loyalty of the fans wasn't just handed to him. It was earned through his blood, sweat, and literal tears.
So, that brings us to a final, critical question for you. What failure are you fighting through today? Look, we all have our own 4-year droughts. We all have our critics, whether they're other people telling us we're finished, or just that quiet, nagging voice of doubt in our own heads. Ronaldo's journey shows us what it looks like to treat the battle as a personal war, to completely ignore the laughter, and to keep giving 100% until you finally hold your trophy. So I challenge you, take that warrior mindset, apply it to your current setbacks, and whatever you do, never stop fighting. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.